Today it looks like we have some very important new messages and some new timelines that are emerging. There's a shift in the energies that's supporting you and a very important person around you right now, and it's actually moving into a different frequency, which for you means that things that have felt stalled or felt a bit uncertain or like even delayed, they're now starting to move. So, welcome in, collective. This feels like one of those readings where the energy is already in motion, okay, before we even begin. It's like the universe is quietly changing the background music, and now suddenly you can hear it. There's movement here, there's momentum, there's a little spark, it's a little tension, and it's a little anticipation as well. And most importantly, I feel like there is a message that is trying to find its way to you. I don't think everything has been visible yet, but it doesn't mean that there's nothing, nothing has been happening. In fact, it feels like it's the opposite. There's a lot that's been unfolding for you, just like beneath the surface. People have been thinking, okay? They've been reconsidering. Someone has been rewatching the situation in their mind, like a scene that they just can't stop replaying again and again. And now you'll soon see that the internal shift is starting to become external, okay? And it's exactly here around this part at the time of the reading where things are going to begin to show themselves. And I want you to pay really close attention because this energy doesn't feel random, okay? It feels timed. It feels like a turning point. There is something in the atmosphere, something in the energies surrounding you which has loosened. So if things felt stuck before, they don't want to stay stuck anymore, right? They don't want to stay stuck now. And if communication has felt a little short or blocked, it wants to open. And if someone was like distant towards you, that energy might begin to soften as well. And it felt like a door was closed for you, but what's different this time is that it's not actually locked anymore. So there's like a kind of like a playful suspense around this reading too, because the energy feels very much like, oh, so now you're ready to say something. It's that kind of vibe, that kind of energy. And it's like a little cosmic side eye, right? The kind where you knew something was coming, like before it even arrived. But you might have not known exactly when it would land, right? And now it feels like this timing is getting closer. I'm also feeling that this shift isn't just about like a one message in isolation. It's about a larger pattern emerging here. New timelines means new possibilities. New support means new alignment. Something in your world is beginning to reorganize itself to make room for a different outcome other than the one you've been preparing for, okay? And this is important because some of you, I feel like, have gotten used to a certain story. You've gotten used to a certain narrative, maybe even like a certain silence. Maybe you've got so used to a person being so inconsistent or a situation feeling half open, half stuck. But the energy around you right now is saying that the story is not the only possible one anymore, okay? In fact, it might be the one that's actually dissolving right now, so that it can take shape. It can take a better shape, a different shape in the future, right? And this is a very person, I feel like around this energy is a very specific person, and it's a very important person for you, especially in this shift. This person is someone who feels very active in your energy field, okay? Even if they're not fully stepped forward yet. They may have been quiet, they may have been distant, they may have been silent, they may have been watching you, they may have been carrying more thoughts than they're let on. There is definitely a sense of inner recalibration with this person, like they've had to get honest with themselves about something, okay? Whether that's how they feel or what they want or what they've been avoiding or what they know they can no longer keep half hidden. I don't know, but there's some sort of internal conversation that has been happening here with this individual. And this internal conversation is leading somewhere. Because what I'm getting is that this person may come with a little more intent than before. So they're a lot less vague this time, less flimsy, less maybe, and more decisive, okay? More actual substance. There's a shift from hovering energy into a deciding energy, from wandering into movement, from passive to active. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to show up with a dramatic speech and a movie soundtrack behind them, right? Although frankly, that would be fun, right? But it does mean that there's going to be a noticeable change in how they engage with you, okay, in how they interact. Something about the energy is going to become a more direct, more real. It's going to become more grounded in a way that I feel like is going to surprise you. And because this is a new timeline, it also means that how you respond is going to matter more than usual, because this isn't just about what they're doing, it's about what version of you they're meeting right now, because you're not the same person you were before this shift. You're not in the same emotional place either, right? You're not in the same, you're not in the same level of patience. I feel like you're not in the same willingness to accept mixed signals for the sake of just staying connected with this person. You've moved, you've grown, you've shifted, you've probably learned a thing or two the hard way, which honestly is very on brand for the collective lately. Anyhow, when this person does come forward, or when the message, the sign, or the opening appears, you're not going to meet it with the same energy you would have before. You're actually going to meet it with more awareness, and just like a little more, let me see what this is really all about. And that's exactly what needs to happen, because this shift is not about chasing. The shift is about alignment, okay? And some of you are about to realize that what you thought was delayed may have actually been divine timing. And that's powerful, because the pause that you've been experiencing has had a purpose. That gap gave someone enough room to get serious, or at least to get honest and transparent about themselves. And honesty, by the way, is a really good place to start. Always, right? Now, I want to talk about the message themselves, because that's a big part of this energy. The message could come in many different forms. It could be a text, it could be a DM, it could be a reply that finally arrives after silence. It could be a conversation that suddenly turns more serious, like, sort of like a "hey, can we talk" moment. It could even be a sign through action before their words finally catch up. Sometimes people speak with behavior before they speak with language. And look, it's possible here. So if suddenly, this person becomes more present, more curious, more responsive, more intentional, more direct, do not dismiss it too quickly. Okay, observe, let their energy show you what it is. Let the pattern reveal itself to you. You do not need to rush it to define it. And for some of you, this could be a person you've already been energetically aware of for a while. It could be a person that you have unfinished business with, a person who's in your presence, like who is orbiting in your energy field, but something about them has felt a little bit off and intriguing at the same time. And I think the most in life, I feel like sometimes the most important people are the ones who just want to make us throw our phones across the room, right? And check it every so often. And I feel like Spirit has a sense of humor like that. So here's what matters. This contact, this message feels like it's contact with purpose. Okay, it's not just noise, it's not just filler, it's not just let me see if you're still there, let me check in. There's something more meaningful trying to come through underneath it all. That's why it's important you don't dismiss it or discount it too early. And look, if it's not a person, then it could be an opportunity. It could be a decision. It could be a pathway that finally opens up, because the energy that is supporting you right now is changing. It's like the right conversation, the right opening, the right timing, the right invitation, the right yes. And that's what makes this reading exciting, right? Because it's not everything is already solved, but because the energy says movement is now possible, And when movement becomes possible, everything changes. The emotional atmosphere suddenly lightens, the tension shifts, the unknown becomes a little less intimidating, right? Because now there's something real to work with. And you might not even notice your intuition. You might actually notice your intuition get louder, especially around this time. Like random thoughts that suddenly don't feel so random, like strong gut hunches, intuitive nudges, inner nudges, dreams, or just this knowing before even proof arrives. That's the part of the timeline shift too. So when the outer world starts moving, the inner world is going to start speaking to you a lot more clearly. So it's important that you do trust what you feel. And if something feels like it's building, it probably is. If someone feels like they're about to say something, they probably are. And if you feel like a chapter is ending, it likely is, right? And at the same time, if you feel like something new is coming in, you're probably already standing in the doorway of that, because that's what the energies feel like. It feels like a doorway, it feels like a message, a new timeline, a person coming in closer, a shift in the way things unfold, especially from this point forward. And I think what the most playful part of this reading is that the universe is almost like nudging you and saying, yes, that the thing that you've been sensing, yep, that's the one. Like, keep watching, see what happens. Because something is definitely changing behind the scenes, and the reveal is actually a lot closer than you think. So, I guess my advice to you would be in the coming days, stay open. Okay, not open in the sense where you have to chase every breadcrumb, but like be open enough to recognize what's actually real when it does arrive. Stay grounded in it, right? Stay curious. Stay a little bit selective too, because not every message is meaningful, but the ones that are will feel different, and you will know. And when they do come in, it may not come in the exact way you expected, which is why it's also important for you to, stay open and curious, because that's a part of the fun of a timeline shifting. The energy rarely follows our script exactly. It actually goes off script. It arrives in a way that can make us laugh a little and say, oh, okay, so this is what it was all about, right? And for some of you, I feel like that moment is coming very soon, very, very soon, like around the corner. So keep your eyes open, keep your energy clear, keep your standards high, do not lower those, and keep your phone nearby just in case the universe does decide to get a little dramatic, because it looks like something important is moving towards you right now, and it's moving with a pace where it's so energetic and it's like rushing in towards you, and it feels a little chaotic but exciting at the same time. And this time around as well, the energy, it wants to be seen. It wants you to see it. It wants you to recognize it. It wants you to play with it. It wants you to interact with this energy. And these are your messages. I'll leave it there. Thanks for being here with me today.